Nothing. I just put my hair down and I need a hat like Keon.
Yeah. Yeah. Maya, how you doing, buddy?
I'm tired.
It's okay.
Okay, so no echo.
Echo good.
Um, let's see if Keon is on. What happened to Keon? It's just notification after notification, child. Woo, Ma, you doing okay?
No.
What's wrong with you, little grumpy?
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. I'm tired. Let's see if I go to work out in the morning.
Crew key? I ain't got no choice. So, yeah, I'm going.
I need to not have a choice.
My trainer already messaged me. I'm going. Hey, guys. Welcome to the live. Okay.
Man,
so,
I was just... Oh,
what?
sorry. Go ahead.
Keon over here, for the new people in Atlanta, Doctor of Physical Therapy, has her own clinic. Come see her. She has healing hands. Maya down here in Texas, occupational therapist. However, she is also a new financial advisor. So, Maya doing big things over here. And then, you know me, the lawyer. So, if you go to my website, which is labelmelegal.com, click on blog, you'll see a blog that's for next week. But then if you scroll down to January 12th blog, you'll see what happens when you're wrongly accused in public. That's the topic today. So, okay, real quick. Basically, I get random questions, legal questions, asked of me, and to be answered, things that other lawyers do for a fee, but no biggie. Anyway, the question that was asked, sometimes a question is asked and I get it enough, or it is a huge problem that I'm seeing that this made me want to write a blog. So, long story short, a friend of mine owns a huge, great business that's doing well. Was in this bar. It's a local bar. Was accused of like doing coke in the bathroom or drugs in the bathroom or something. It was crazy. And then they just kicked this person out, like for no reason. They didn't ask any questions, and this person unequivocally does not do drugs. They didn't ask any questions. It was, to put in their words, a white person accused a black person, and it was just like, you're out of here. And obviously they were livid because they had people meeting them there. This was a local bar that they were used to coming to, blah, blah, blah. So what we're talking about today is what happens when that happens to you. I want to know if any of that has ever happened, because the big overarching theme is like, I'm really big on self-advocacy. So I really want to stress a couple of things that are my favorite things to do when you're wrong, and some things that you can do to protect yourself. So I want to start out by asking, not specifically, don't get caught up in the facts, but has something like this ever happened to you where you felt like you were completely embarrassed, but you feel like there's nothing I can do and I just gotta go, and you didn't know any alternative of what to do? Not embarrassed. It could have been something that, like, for example, a store didn't stand by their product.
Oh, sorry.
and you just felt like, okay, so I just got to take the product, and I just spent my hard-earned money, and that's it. Even though y'all stuff got a hole in it, like, any of that ever happened to y'all?
I guess like I don't know if this actually is actually like applied to that incident, but I remember when I was like in PT school and I would study late hours. So after class, the last 45 minutes of the clinic hours, I would go get my car and move it up to the front parking spot so that I could feel safe walking out because I knew I was leaving late and I didn't want to walk far. Well, eventually, I was called in because wait, I'm thinking.
Huh?
It's echoing.
Sorry, I clicked a button.
But yeah, someone would she said someone reported me for parking in patient parking and it's a disregard for patient care. And I was like, it's all the patients that's gonna be there for the day already there. It's the last few minutes. I don't park there all day. I just do if I'm going to be studying late, like so I can be safe. There's no security on campus. Like I don't want to walk a mile to my car. I had got a negative form filled out, and then I had to meet in front of professors who basically just like told me how disappointed they were for my disregard for patient care and not prioritizing patients. But I just felt so like I didn't agree with it going in my file. It was like a write-up pretty much in my chart. And if I get so many, I would get kicked out of med school. So you really don't want to get one.
Wow.
But I didn't agree that was that they assumed that I didn't care about patients having an up close parking spot, and I was just thinking about myself when I was only parking there for safety reasons. And so having to just accept that because of the position I was in, it just made me feel low because I was accepting something that I ultimately did not believe to be true.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I had a voice to be able to explain myself sitting at a round table amongst 6 other people who is basically like, I'm so disappointed in you. I can't believe this is what you would, this is a reflection of your character. And I'm like, that's not the last 40 minutes of patient care and I'm pulling my car up. It's not a reflection of my lack of care for patients and their disability and mobility. So yeah. I don't know that kind of put me in just a weird like mental space for a while, like in the school, and where I started walking a straight line of just wanting to do right.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I can't recognize what's right or wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you found something wrong in me, and I would have never in a million years got that picture by me choosing to park in this parking space. And then I asked to see the email of the person that complained. I never could see the email. I was like, I never seen security up there. So is there any way like I can talk to the officer about the time they see me just for clarity? Never was able to provide that. Wow. They said it was a verbal complaint and it was enough to go into my file.
Was this when you was in PT school?
Yes.
Wow. You really did go through some traumatic times there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's...
I was told I got a whole letter grade change for giving a presentation in front of multiple doctors because of my dialect. When I asked about why my dialect, I provided a great presentation. I was super proud of myself for being so confident, and I thought I had I was a great representation for my school. And it was grand rounds where you present a case to multiple doctors, residents that's not PTs, they're like MDs. And I did good. I answered the questions well, but I ended up getting an 86 instead of like a 90% or like something, an A. And when I asked why, they said my dialect, and I asked for examples, and it was like, just be mindful of how you're speaking when you're speaking to doctors. And I thought I had spoke very grammatically correct. I was comfortable in my presentation, but I didn't go into presentation like, hey, what up, y'all?
Yeah.
I was just very comfortable speaking, and I may not have used the correct grammatical words or whatever that looked like, but no definition was provided to me. It was just my dialect was the reason why my grade, and that stuff really scars you, really like stick with you because you start overly analyzing like, how am I coming off to people? Do I sound, am I sounding ghetto? Am I, am I saying something wrong? And it's just like you really go and you get real hard on yourself. Well, I know I did. I got real hard on myself, and it's the whole reason why I got locks. They told me they was gonna fail me because I couldn't get my braids in the net. So I cut my hair off to make the biggest statement because now I'm coming to school bald headed. So I cut my hair off because I was so afraid of fail. I didn't want to fail, and it was so easy for me to for my personality and who I was to be a problem. I wanted to be a research assistant. They told me I couldn't do it because I was on academic probation. And I was like, well, that was last semester. I'll be off of it next semester. They said, well, you think you'll be off of it.
Oh my gosh, Keon.
Yes.
You went through some stuff.
Yes.
In Arkansas?
Well, that's when I just learned that like grading professors are subjective people that provide an opinion about you and your skill, but that does not take away the skill that you have. And it took me a long time to break from those traumas, like not feeling enough for this profession, or not being enough for this profession, or not being the ideal image of what this profession is supposed to look like. So eventually I had to create my own image, and it really did take me into a really dark, like imposter syndrome place of just like not being able to identify like who I am as a person. Like, what do I like? What are the things that satisfy me? Because I'm trying to appease this environment that I can't appease, because every little thing I do can be looked at as poor dialect, or just poor image, or you always wearing tennis shoes, that it really does mess with you mentally. And that's what people accusing you of something you're not, and you not being strong in yourself and trying to find yourself at the same time, it'll beat you up. And it beat me up for a long time.
Man,
wow.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Keon.
That's heavy, Keon.
That's
Mom said she remember all those stories. They took you through there.
That's exactly, yeah. You was unsure if that's.
And all I did was.
That's exactly.
And I said I tried to do everything right. I spent Saturday nights in the lab. I wanted them to see me on camera.
Yeah.
I was there from sun up to sundown, and it still was like the hardest journey. I feel like I got a breath of fresh air when I sent a letter to the dean about my experiences and the lack of diversity and equity and inclusion. That's when I finally understood what DEI was, because like being different is not always like a black and white thing. But you can feel that you're not accepted in this environment. And as a student, every student, no matter what you look like, sound like, or act like, you deserve an opportunity to learn, period. Like, without all them hurdles. Yeah. And so it was just...
What was the response? Did you get, like, anything back from that letter or anything?
So they tried to suspend me, and I remember being at home with Mom eating breakfast, and I asked her to pray because I should get a decision today. And the dean reinstated me, and she sent diversity coaches to the school. And they wanted me to come back and sign a paper saying that if I fail anything else, then I get kicked out, and I refused to sign it.
And then what happened?
Oh my gosh.
They said it would go in my file anyway. And I said, okay, but I'm not signing it. So, yeah, it was definitely a journey of just like, and I think for boards, it created insecurity in my like knowledge. Like, it was one professor that literally called me in her office, and I had passed, and she wasn't supposed to tell me, and she was crying because she was like a Middle Eastern lady, but she saw what I had been through, and she's like was crying and was telling me how proud she was of me. She was like, you did it. You did it. Keep going. She told. That's the day she told me about. She just reminded me like you had the little David in you, the David and Goliath. She was like telling, this is your Goliath. Keep going. And that following semester, she left the school. I don't think she agreed with the principles that was going on. Like, it was never said like why, but like when I left at the end of the semester, she called me in the office. She's like, you made it. You passed. Like, and you did it. It's like basically it's nothing they can throw at you now. You passed it. Nothing they can say wrong. You got it right.
Yeah.
And they still trying to kick me out. I still had to ask the dean to stay for being 3 points off the GPA.
Wow.
But luckily, I kept a paper trail of all of my attempts to get better, to ask for help. So every time I went to somebody for help, I documented that. I documented the date. I documented the conversation. And I sent all of that in a document to the dean. And I made a chart to show her my improvements from when I first started to where I was now, and how, the environment was not set up for me to win. I had to learn to adapt to it. And the dean read my letter. It was like a whole packet. And she told me to go back to school, and she gonna send me the support I need. And when she way in Little Rock, she never met me, never seen me. She just got a letter from me asking for help.
That's crazy. If you were unsure about...
Dash, you on mute. You've been on mute the whole time.
That's crazy, Key.
I haven't
never
really
knew
been
you went
talking
through
this
all
whole
that.
time, so that's good. But wow. Is it echoed now?
No.
Oh, okay. So, man, if you were unsure if this was an example, this is a perfect example. This is crazy. This is nonsense. And that was not that long ago, because you graduated. Well, you couldn't even walk. We saw a skeleton be hooded. you graduated in 2020. So, but the changes that have been made since then, she said she wrote letters. You have ChatGPT to help you write letters. You don't know the words to say what you're feeling. ChatGPT gonna put it into perspective for you. She said, like, Keon, you said a lot, like mental health, because it's like when we talk about like these barriers, they're not obvious. Nobody's sitting at counters and getting spit on anymore. They're not obvious barriers. We're talking about stuff like that. It's when they say dog whisperer language that only certain people of color, women of color can understand. That's the language. Oh, your dialect. Now, you know dang well I talk the way I talk. I'm not coming in here talking hood or any of that. I'm talking professional. But my dialect is based on my environment and where I'm from. That has nothing to do with my abilities or skills. But if we're going to do that, then that means anybody who's not skilled or fluent or sounds like the white way is going to be knocked down a grade for their dialect. These are the barriers. And then the fact that you talk about like the mental health thing, that adds on another barrier, because now I'm this is what we're talking about when we say imposter syndrome. It's built up by experiences like this. So now I'm questioning myself. I'm questioning my skill because you question me on something very ridiculous, but you end up internalizing that stuff. So, and I want to talk about that today too, like, because that's something that I wrote about in my blog. But number one, to say everybody has these experiences and hear other people's experiences if you've had one. But also, too, to provide some of the things Keon said. We're going to provide some solutions on how you can get that empowerment back. Some of my favorite solutions, when people call me, I guess because I'm a lawyer, and ask, what can I do? And I tell them, like, these are the steps that you can take. Even if nothing else happens, even if nothing happened, it didn't cost her anything to send, write a letter or whatever. So those are some of the solutions I want to hone in on, because that was a lot. That was really good, Keon. I'm sorry you went through that. It's a lot going through med school, and then you gone. Man, yeah.
Key, when did you feel like I'm getting an echo again?
It's their set. It's they.
It's me.
Do you
Okay.
have another screen pulled up? Okay, you muted. When did you feel like when you could be yourself in a professional setting after all that, or what was the experience? Look, two questions. What was the experience when you first landed your first job? Because then after experiencing that, you went to Alabama.
No, I went to Savannah, 10 hours away from home. It was worse. It was still that like you almost feel little in this environment because they've created you to feel little in this environment. It wasn't until I moved to Atlanta in about 2021, 22. So that's just a few years ago. Like my growth just started about 3 years ago. I just began to see like the light that everybody else see. And when I gained the amount of patients that moved with me from the local counties, I brought like 50 something, 50 to 80 patients to my clinic that I'm at now. And when I saw how much support I had from a patient care standpoint, I realized that no matter how long someone had been practicing, no matter how many people had basically, because Savannah was real antebellum. So I had a whole breakdown in Savannah. I remember I used to call home and ask mom to just pray with me because I was so far away from home. And it's like, when you feel that low, all you have is faith sometimes. So it's like trying to find faith in a space where you want to be, but you don't feel like you belong. Like I want to be here so bad. Like I want to be a PT like this, but this environment is just not fitting for me. Like I'm constantly being undermined by someone in this profession. And until they gave me my own clinic to create my own culture and to make it a teaching environment, and I always, because right now I'm a clinical instructor, and I have multiple students that I receive because I never want a student to feel the way I feel while trying to grow in this profession. Like I felt unsupported for a very long time, and it wasn't until patients provided me with that that affirmation of you hard, like you know what you're doing. And I was studying for hours. I would go to the library even when I was in Malden. I would be studying from sun up to sundown. Like Daisha could tell you, I was at the library like 24/7, taking lunch breaks, going back to the library, treating it like it was a job. So like when I say I knew the practice and the skill front to back because I studied it, but I never had the confidence to walk in that. Like I can never tell you, even though I know the breakdown of diabetes, I would be so insecure about telling it to you because I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to pronounce homeostasis wrong. You know, I don't want to, my terminology, I read it in a book. I don't know how it's going to come out. So I probably just got confident like a few years ago.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, kid.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm glad you provided
That's heavy.
Man, I'm sorry you went through that, but it's a good story because you hear, I mean, being where you are, being like people see the doctor behind your name, but they don't see that. They don't see. They know you went to med school, but they don't see. Okay, you did the studying, but they don't see that. They don't see that extra stuff that you went through, that you fought to get here, and then you graduated, and you like, I'm still fighting, bro. I'm still fighting. Sometimes, like when you went down there, I'm fighting my own people. Like I had a 50-year-old intern. He was a white male. I'm telling you, I'm the lawyer. You looking at my intern, and these are my people. These are black people, and I'm like, bro. All right, see what he know then. Cause I ain't finna argue. Like I'm still fighting. I got the degree, but I'm still fighting. It's that people don't see, that people need to hear, but they also need to hear, like, you know, how to navigate that, and that other people have navigated it, and literally the best comeback is your paper. Like it's just to glow up on people and see them on the way up. Just real quick, Eric teed up said, "I feel you. I quit pilot school because my instructor told me my hand tats will push me back."
Eric teed up.
Yeah,
Eric, shout out to you.
I know. He said,
Wow, we just met him in Phoenix.
Eric said, "Is that my baby Maya?"
Actually, you looked up on your end. It's a setting on your end. Last time y'all fixed it.
Is it? I don't. let me
Yeah,
see,
you
let me see.
still echoing for real.
Now?
First of all, shout out to you for being so vulnerable and sharing. That you need to get that together.
Where's
Alexa said
production?
people need to hear our stories, and Carol said, "I'm so sorry you had to experience all that, but look at you now." Erica said, "Good for you, Keon. Glad you feel better in your own skin." Mom said, "What's teed up mean?"
Thank
Oh my
y'all.
gosh. Yeah. This is Dash. Have you heard this story? Like, have you heard all of this?
I mean, I feel like I heard bits and pieces, but like, I don't think I appreciated it for what it was. I really don't.
So I have such a love for my career because
Cause
Yeah.
you fought to get
It's-
here.
yeah, like I really had to, and then to be unapologetically me, that's new to me. That's so new to me. Like I don't even think people understand, even though I look like happy and giggly and jumpy all those times. I'm just like I'm 33. I'm my best self right now today. But before, it was definitely a lot of self-doubt in my character and just like myself. And it's crazy because I wasn't broken at home. I was broken when I went into I jumped off the porch. You know, like you trying to grow up, you trying to navigate these situations on your own. You trying to be and to learn how to respond without emotion is so hard. To look somebody in the face and be like, okay, and you really just want to like, it's so hard. So I do think these moments, I do think those moments I went through. I would have never been able to be as unique as I am today if I didn't experience those moments.
Yeah.
And because of that uniqueness, there's a humbleness in me for people that understand people in any type of situation. And I think I think it also goes to show, like, that's why I can say some things are not just black and white to me. Like, it's a lot of gray. It's a whole lot of gray.
Yeah.
Dion said, Mom said you all heard it, just didn't realize the depths of it. She was ready to quit. I did not hear, I've never heard this story. Like, listening to this, I got emotional, but two, I'm also mad. Like, I'm angry. Like, I just went through all the emotions just hearing that.
I'm tired of telling y'all that. Like, he literally said that it's a setting that he hit, and y'all still ain't figured it out today.
Dia said, love the vulnerability that you displayed while opening up about your experience. I know the feeling of after all the mess you've been through in school and to constantly be questioning in your profession.
Yeah.
But now I understand why you why you go so hard for PT.
Yes.
It's literally your calling. Yeah, you. Dash, are you about to say something?
No, I was trying to wait for y'all.
I can't hear you. I'm about to get mad.
Yeah, me too. Alexa, Maya, read Alexa comment.
Alexa said, no, for real. It takes a high level of maturity to smile and carry on when you have to fight every day, no matter the experience, no matter the education.
Can y'all hear me now?
So true.
Yeah.
With no echo?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, no echo?
Yeah, that.
No echo.
Okay.
Yeah. Were you saying something, Dash?
No. No, I was waiting to see if y'all was gonna say I was echoing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Dash, have you ever experienced that in school? In law school?
Not really, no. Honestly, law school for me was and that's probably Keon why you be like, you ain't did all that. You sound triumphant. that's probably you face so much adversity over there that some of my stories sound crazy. But no, in law school I was also I went to law school part-time. I was a full-time employee. So I was like a colleague to.
She was an untraditional student.
Yeah, non-traditional. Yeah, so they saw me different. I didn't experience none of that. I didn't experience any of that at SEMO. I don't know. I've never experienced. I probably experienced that like as a lawyer, but.
Is there anybody in the chat that have experienced something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've experienced. I think I felt it when I was in Maryville because it was a small school. It was a PWI. They had a support, like a black student support group or whatever, where it was just like a lot of the black kids that's on the campus talking about this. But even then, I just didn't feel like I could relate to any of them. It wasn't like what I was used to. And like when I got to Abilene for OT school, it was also a small college and it was real private. I mean, it was mostly white, but the professors were super supportive. Like they made sure you didn't fail. And I think I had a better experience there versus in Maryville. Because I started out in PT school in Maryville, and it was also a lot of white kids, but I didn't apply myself as much as Keon did. I didn't think that PT was for me, but I still had like times where sorry, sweetie, mom comment. I still had times where I knew like I am black, like I felt it. And I can't really explain like how that feels, but even in my career now, I still have those feelings like I'm the odd duck out.
And for me, I guess the weird part is like for the first time, it didn't feel like a black thing. It was more my character. I felt like my character was wrong, not my skin color. It was, I'm such a outspoken person. I'm literally gonna say how I feel. I'm gonna ask the question that don't nobody want to be asked out loud. Like I'm gonna want to know. I'm gonna challenge you as a teacher because I'm a student and I'm eager to learn, because if I can't teach it to somebody else, I don't know it. So I don't care. I really believe that there's no dumb question. So even the dumbest question has meaning to me. And I think sometimes in these situations, it's those bold characters in us. It's those people who are outspoken, who are dominant, who are leaders, and we're having to silence ourselves and die to self to be able to just get ahead. And that is just hard. That is so hard. But I think That's the way you get into those rooms of becoming CEOs and you change the structure. That's how you get to those upper levels and you change the criteria, the acceptance criteria. Because if it's not enough of us that's went through it in those positions, then it's just a cycle of people steady being taken through those moments.
Yeah.
That's people. Those people in those roles were doing power trips.
Yeah.
They had a power and they saw a personality that didn't need them. I needed them for the literature. I didn't need them for the hands-on portion.
Yeah.
And it was like I want you to realize that you don't know as much as you think you know, but it's like I know nothing. I'm just confident. When you teach me, I'm gonna show you my confidence in it because that's what I'm supposed to show.
Yeah.
And that's who I am. Yeah. So that I feel like that is a different type of fight, and it's a different complexity to standing up for yourself. But in those moments, you don't always win. It's a lot of battles that you don't win in those moments, but that don't mean that you're not going to win the ultimate battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I just thought about it. I was like going through my experiences, like in college. Like I said, I didn't experience that. But honestly, in the city, I didn't experience that. In when I worked for the law firm, I didn't experience that. I actually did what we all know we do. We outperform everybody, so nobody gets to question our integrity in our work because they will, just because we're black. And so I didn't get that. I actually got recognized for my work. Now they did play with my money and it was time to go, but I didn't get that. It wasn't until recently, actually, like Lexa, I didn't necessarily want to share it, but it wasn't until recently that I had a supervisor who was great, who saw me for my abilities, who saw my skill and put that out there and was like, I'm going to put you in more, like, you're great at public speaking. I'm going to put you in places, you know, in front of people, blah, blah, blah. And then like that, it switched because I got another supervisor. And this supervisor was one of those white males that you're clearly older and have been doing this longer, but you feel the need to say things like, I've been doing this for 30 years. To somebody who's been doing it for 10 years, why you got to say that? Why are we doing this? It was like that. It's microaggressions, like talking about your dialect, Keon. It was like, you're the only person on the team that doesn't ask me to review your work. As if, like, how dare you feel like you don't need my help? That was my most recent experience, and I had never experienced that before. But I saw the writing on the wall. I was like, man, I gotta go, because you now you finna play with my money, and now you questioning everything I do, and you can clearly, when it's stuff like that, you can clearly see that it's not about your skill. I can clearly see. I won't say everybody, but I could clearly see it wasn't about my skill. But it definitely bothered me, and it, as they do, allowed other people to rally together to basically go to other people about me, and it wasn't something I was actually doing, but it made a good story, and you know, I was easy to throw under the bus, and I did get thrown under the bus, but I didn't, again, it's nothing compared to what you experience. It's interesting now that 10 years out, that's my first experience with that. I may have something else, but I honestly can't remember. Definitely nothing like that. But yeah, that kind of stuff, and that's another reason why I made this blog, because I kind of feel like you, Maya, like I don't get the emotional part. I felt it, but I get very angry because
Right.
I just want to shake people, like, why you just can't do right by people? What's wrong with y'all? And I want to, like, one of my biggest things, that's my passion, is like helping people help themselves. Self-advocacy. I don't want to be a lawyer. I want to teach you that you got you. You just don't know it. And so that's one of my biggest things, because I wrote this blog because I get at least maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, I get these stories. I get the story that I wrote on the blog. I get Keon's story. I get constant. And Maya, when you ask me like why I be talking the way I talk or why I feel the way that's why. Because I'm exposed to stories like Keon's more than I care to be. And it's infuriating because, one, people are in a position of power and they abuse it. But two, people don't know the power that they have, or they feel powerless, and it adds insult to injury, and it's heartbreaking that people
And
don't have.
I really think on that point that the titles make you feel like you're powerless.
Yeah.
And when you put those titles and you put on people, you put them on a pedestal that a lot of them don't deserve to be on. This it's just a title.
Mm-hmm.
Continuously to see the person. Like, I can see my VPO and the janitor, and I'm gonna see the person first. Period. It's just I think that we believe CEO, VPO, vice president of this, that stuff makes you feel like those people are of a certain, they in a different tax bracket, yeah, and they may get paid more for their opinion, yeah, but that does not take away from the person. And sometimes we lose the person and we don't see the person, and then it makes the fight hard.
Yeah.
We immediately fold, and we don't realize the power within ourselves. Like, you have stronger personality than this person. Like, why'd you fold in?
Yeah. But you know what? The other thing is that we have to be honest about. It's not just titles. It's also, rightfully so, you're in a position to take everything from me, and that's how people feel, because you're a student trying to get this degree. If I mess this up, I don't know what you're gonna put in my file. But now I gotta go through the process of getting into another school. Now I gotta take this file with me that you tarnished off some bias, and now I have to I got money to be up in here. Now I have to spend more money trying to. That makes people feel vulnerable, because they're like, I gotta. Most of the time, people are like, I gotta be quiet. Like at work, when somebody is telling you, you need to conform like this. At school, I have to be quiet because I need the thing that you have. I need you to give me that degree. I need you to give me a passing grade and treat me as fairly as, you know what I'm saying? So you're in a place of vulnerability. And unfortunately, people prey on that and they use that. And then you feel powerless because you're like, I got to shut up because I just got to get this degree. Because I gotta move on with, that part of my life. And that's completely understandable.
So Scott asked a good question, because when Keon was talking about her story, in my head I'm like, how come we can't get some legal action going on? He said, so when is the time to take these type of situations into with legal representation or HR? How do you speak up?
Yeah, okay. So
I think the paper trail for sure is something I know for a fact. It don't matter if it's an emotional moment and you think that you're not doing your best. Document every moment where you feel a sense of discrimination. For me, I won my battle, so it wasn't legal representation or HR. It was the dean. When I got told no, I could have sat down and said, I'm just gonna give up. I asked them, if you say no, what is the worst that will happen to me if I appeal your no? Mm-hmm. And they said, you just get told no again. Mm-hmm. And so at this point, I don't got nothing to lose. Like, I'm just gonna get told no again. I can take another no. I got one. And I think sometimes the battle to go and fight is scary for people, because you don't know what's the outcome of me going into this battle. And each battle is different. They can speak from a legal standpoint of how to go about it, but for me, somebody who is like baseline, just like everybody else, without a lack of support, understanding. The only thing that saved me was documenting and saving every moment where I made an attempt to seek help, because I felt like one day it would be me versus them. I knew that day would come where it would be a fight against me versus my word versus theirs.
Yeah.
And I would have to show what type of student I was to somebody, because clearly these people weren't able to see the type of ambitious student I was. They couldn't see that in me. And what they seen is my appearance.
Yeah.
And my appearance offended them. My appearance was uncomfortable to them. And so I didn't belong in that environment. Like I wasn't a good face of physical therapy, and even I was ashamed of my name, my first name. I'd had that first name my whole life, and people use it, and I'm just like, but it had become shameful to even have that name, and it had become a really big deal later on in life when I done carried it my whole life and knew it was my name. But my prep guy used my first name, Shaniqua, as a podcast post, and he told me that is going to change the game of physical therapy. That name alone, and it just made me look at myself differently. I mean, that's not my identity. Of course, Keon is my identity, but at the same time, like the shamefulness of that name dropped that day. But it didn't. I had it my whole life. It's tattooed on my daddy. Like I done seen that name. People joke about that name, but it was never as shameful as those people in that environment made me feel to be a Shaniqua in physical therapy.
Yeah.
And so it's just learning how to stand up for yourself. And in order for you to stand up for yourself, you're going to have to be so comfortable in your skin that even the first no got to be enough for you to keep fighting to see if you can get to a yes. Yeah.
So Dash, if she so in situations if she did want to take legal action, what would that look like? Like, with that being that long ago?
I think it's super important. So statute of limitations is something that everybody needs to understand, because the length of time sometimes isn't as important as you think it is. For example, if you had some kind of injury or something happen and you're in Missouri, the statute of limitations is 3 years versus something else maybe 5 years. So it depends on like the case that you have and the statute of limitations behind it. So sometimes it doesn't matter how long it's been. Like, for example, there is no statute of limitations on murder. If you murdered somebody 20 years ago, you can still go to jail. So, you know what I mean? So that's that piece. It doesn't always matter about the timing. What matters is, I think a lot of people come to me and be like, so can I sue or what? And we have to ask ourselves, like, when everybody says this, it's because something was wrong, something was done, but you have to be able to understand discomfort and risk. Did it just make me uncomfortable? Was it uncomfortable and just wrong? Or did I lose my job? Did I lose my income? Because essentially what a lawyer who takes the case is going to look for is, what am I telling the judge? If I have to go before a judge, what am I saying? Because this person experienced this, they missed out on this. So when it comes at the bottom line, when you're asking for money or whatever you're asking for, you need to be able to show, because this happened, I didn't get this, and this didn't happen. I didn't get my. If you can't do that, and it was just like that was messed up, then pull it down. It's not legal. It's probably HR or another, depending on your company or wherever you are. For example, Keon took it to the Dean of Students. Students do not realize the power that they have in schools. They need your money. They want your money. If a gang of students get together and they complain about something, at the very least, it will be heard, because you are their constituents. So you have to think about who is the constituent in this situation? And in a school, it's students. Students matter more than they know. When it comes to like work, I have a bias against HR because you protected me and the company that signed your paycheck. Find somebody else to believe it. But HR is like a process that you can go through, but there are different avenues. Like for example, I used to work at a company that had a portal for like reporting something anonymously, and it had like a cute little name on it or whatever, and you can use stuff like that. So you have to weigh where you need to go and what you've lost, and don't just say I could have got that job when all your performance reviews say that you barely meet expectations, or that wasn't going to happen. Nobody kept you from a job promotion or whatever. So you have to be able to show something like that. I think the other thing is, the obvious is discrimination or retaliation. Like if somebody retaliating on you because you said something. So for example, Keon wrote that letter, and now all of a sudden she's getting bad grades, or after that you can clearly tell before that it was this experience, but after I wrote that letter, it was this experience. That's obvious retaliation for going to somebody about something. So those are obvious. Those two, discrimination and retaliation, are obvious. Take it to legal. But the other two, always ask, what am I trying to prove that I lost? How am I going to be able to say I lost this because you did this? If it's just discomfort or frustration, go another avenue. So I'm going to pause here, but I want to go into some of those solutions on those other avenues that are some of my favorites, because I'm a firm believer in self-advocacy and not just sitting quiet and feeling like, I just got to take this. But I'm going to pause there for real quick so we can read comments, or if there are any.
So we can what?
If there are any comments.
No.
Okay. So, all right. Let me go before you get into things, and I'm gonna kind of be generalized with the solutions, because we're talking about situations like Keon's. We're talking about situations like the one I wrote about in my blog. We're also talking about situations where y'all are hiring. This is something that I've seen here in North Carolina as well as Missouri and all over. Y'all are hiring people. Y'all are doing business with people. I just talked to somebody in Texas who had a construction company. Like, every other day, this is an issue that I'm hearing people, and it's always after the fact, what do I do now? So I really need y'all to start entering business with people, even if it's not B2B, which is business to business, your business and their business. If you are a homeowner and you are hiring somebody, it could be a small company. You really need to find out how to protect yourself. Like, for example, if they did me wrong, how would I go about looking for this person and making sure they did this, and do that before you hire them so that you know that you have everything. So for example, something like a construction company, or if you're doing business with somebody, every professional, Keon is a physical therapist. She has insurance. She has to be insured for what she does. It's through her company, but if she was on her own, she would have to get insurance. Maya would have to get insurance. As a lawyer, if I have my own law firm, I have to get malpractice insurance. Everybody has to have insurance. And if they don't have insurance, you really don't want to mess with them, because the old saying, you can't get blood from a turnip, is going to turn up in your life. When you try to sue them for something and the person themselves don't have the money, that's why when you get into a car accident or something, you go for the insurance. You don't go for the person, because the insurance has the money. The insurance covered this driver and said they'll be okay and safe to drive. And I'm going to protect them if they're not, if they do something. So do the same with all the businesses that you work with. And by doing so, you're going to ask for the certificate of insurance. That is a common business practice that multi-million-dollar companies are doing, but even small businesses should be doing, because everybody, I don't care how small you are, should have a certificate of insurance. It is a easy document. It is a free document for people to get from their insurance company to show the person that they're working with, their client, that they have insurance. So always ask for the certificate of insurance. Why? Because when this person does you wrong, you need to know, what was their insurance company name? You are not getting a name once they do you wrong. They are out the door and they ain't answering your calls. So get the certificate of insurance up front, and don't just trust that piece of paper. I would call and check, is this person still insured? Are they insured right now between this times and these dates, to ensure that they'll be insured while they're working on my house? Because when they're working on your house, not only are you paying them, but if they mess it up, now you have to pay for that too. Other things that you should get are things like, I had a lady come to me about a unlicensed hair cosmetologist. She literally took her hair out. And I'm talking like, she had long hair. It was like to here. And when she pulled off her wig and showed me, it looked like damage. It was like up to here. It was really sad. And she knew she was doing something wrong, but she couldn't quite figure it out. And then afterwards, she looked her up. Turns out she did not renew her license. She didn't have her license. At that point, you should be going to boards. So all lawyers in every state have a Missouri bar, it's called the bar organization. North Carolina bar. All of those have links to where y'all need to be out here. If lawyers are required, one of the biggest things that we get disciplined on is not communicating within 30 days, which a lot of these lawyers out here are not doing. Y'all need to get used to sending something saying, my lawyer isn't communicating with me. Go on your bar website and make sure you are filing disciplinary reports on these lawyers, so that the bar, they will do an investigation. And it doesn't cost you anything. It's not anything that you have to do. The bar goes out and does an investigation. They just did something in Illinois where this man, a lawyer, was found out he was writing reviews on himself and was writing nasty reviews on other lawyers too. He got disbarred for that. It may not sound like a big deal, but it's quite unethical for you to be doing that. So check with their licensors. If they're cosmetologists, they still have to have a license. You need to go to that board. If they are a bar, like the person in my blog, they have a liquor license. You need to go to the liquor license authority. You need to go to any authority you can that's going to be like, hey, this person is not operating within the guidelines and the policies that you need them to operate in. Okay, number 3, write letters, like Keon said. Do not be afraid to write letters. Don't necessarily argue. Have ChatGPT, but letters go a long way. I will get real Karen on you when something happens. Case in point, this may seem small to y'all, but I bought something with my hard-earned money, and then I gave it back and said, hey, this didn't work right, and the company did not stand by it. And I was like, really? So I went to one of my favorite sites, Better Business Bureau, and I wrote up what happened, and I wrote what they did, and the salesperson told me there was nothing they can do. And I wasn't nasty, but I was like, yeah, they don't stand by their product. And the company reached out to me and gave me a gift card that I can buy any product to make up for what I lost. I have had that happen multiple times, and a lot of people do it because Better Business Bureau also does their own investigation. So a lot of companies will respond to you when you do that. Do not be afraid to go to Better Business Bureau, because people need to stand by their businesses. Now you got social media. Y'all use social media. Like, if Keon wanted to make a fuss, that would be something. I'm using names and I'm going to social media and I'm talking about the school. Like, that's something that I think, some of these things we kept going viral. That might be something. Request copies of, like, if you get written up or something, make sure you get a copy for yourself. If there's a dispute process that they talk about, make sure you get a copy of that. Make sure you have all the paperwork you need so that you can not only follow the process, and that's how you're going to say it, I want to make sure I'm following the process, but really you're checking to make sure they're following the process, because a lot of people will do what they want to do and apply the policy when they feel like it because they know you don't know it and you ain't going to go in the handbook and read it. So always keep handbooks, all of that, so that you can always go back. Hearings, appeals, feel free to request those. Require written clarifications, and like Keon said, the last thing is you got to document everything, even if it's just a note to yourself on this day and this. Make sure you have the name, so if you're explaining it back to somebody, there's not missing gaps of what day was that and who did you talk to and what location was that kind of stuff. Document everything, even if it doesn't go anywhere, so that you can refer back to it if it does turn out. Because the other thing that you need to be clear of, when you start noticing patterns of now they picking, now it's just me, that's when you probably need to escalate. So I guess I can end this by saying all of this should be done. I hate to say this, but because you have all these avenues, you have letters, and because of the way we're treated, it's hard to do, but try to remove the emotion. Stay calm and do those 10 things. And if nothing happens, to me, it makes me feel good that I advocated for myself and I didn't just stand there and take it. Because that's like if something happened to me and I stood there and take it, that's like a double shot to me. To me, it feels awful. So those are 10 things that I would advise, that I usually advise people to do, and hopefully you go from here and, can avoid some conflict, or those help you in future experiences.
From an emotional standpoint, I would just also tell people, forgive those people that take you through that, because when you finally get to a point of forgiving them, you tend to find those battles later on, and you're a lot more stronger in them battles. But if you're still upset from the first battle, and if I was still crying and upset from my emotion was just like having to actually say it out loud to people. My mom has heard it probably the most, because that's who I leaned on during that moment. I was isolated, and I isolated myself, and that's who I leaned on. But having to tell everybody else, I think the number one thing is like, I got to a point of not feeling sorry for myself, not feeling like the weakest link in the room, and I forgave those people. And now I'm able to walk in rooms and stand up for myself. So forgive those traumas in your life. Forgive those moments of just feeling low where nobody like gave you that affirmation, and give yourself that affirmation. Give yourself that reassurance that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, and you are going exactly where you plan on going.
And I just want to speak to the Black women that are having to navigate these professional spaces and that feel what Keon has went through. We come up polished. We're not only carrying the work, we're carrying the imposter syndrome, the stereotypes, what Keon went through, the low-key discrimination. We're carrying all that, and we still show up. We still try to overachieve to prove not only to ourselves but to them, and we're still being misread. We're still being underqualified and things like that. But like Keon did, stand up for yourself, advocate for yourself, keep a paper trail, keep emails, document, and protect yourself, because even if you have HR and all these other things in place, you can't trust them either. Like, you have to protect you at all times.
Ain't nobody coming to save us.
Thank y'all for rocking with us each week. We greatly appreciate y'all. They usually like to finish with a memo from the blog and a closing.
Oh, okay. So the next blog is I think it's the church one, but let me make sure because I think this is going to be.
Yeah, it is.
It's not going to be necessarily controversial, but I want to have an honest conversation about why people don't go to church anymore, and I made a couple of points in it. So I hope you read the blog and don't come for me. But if you do, please, we welcome your thoughts in next week's blog. It's about why people don't go to church anymore, which I swear to you, I wrote this blog before Drewski's skit.
Wow, that's gonna be good because that is a very controversial topic right now, and I think it holds substance as to, especially for the youth, why the youth is not tied into church, and just the old way of how church is and the way the youth mindset is now. Next week is going to be a very good controversial topic, and even if you don't go to church, bring your opinion because those are the opinions we need and want as to why you don't go to church, and those that do go to church, bring those opinions as to why we need to get back in church.
If you needed any of those ways for self-advocacy, just send me a message and I will send the list to you.
All right. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night. Have a good week.
Thank you.